Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It is episode 7 of the All Offense podcast, Sunday at May 20th.
Woo!
We are here quickly. A little bit of an intro. We're going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals very shortly. Talk a bit about that, how Toronto got the double OT win. After that, we're just going to do a little bit of a preview of the Portland Golden State game, and then we'll get into some trivia with Jack and some takes as well. So look forward to all of that. But Jack, I got to ask you before we start, recently, I think less than an hour ago, just got out of the John Wick 3 movie, which stars a very special NBA player, Boban Marjanovic.
Yes.
And I got to ask, how are his acting chops?
So, Boban was great. He is right at the start of the movie. I think you can tell by the trailer he doesn't fare that well in the movie. In the trailer, he gets a book shoved into his mouth and then slapped deeper into his throat by John Wick. I won't give anything away, but his hands were on full display. They were huge. There's a lot of shots of him just grabbing John Wick's head, and it kind of looking like when a parent is turning their kid's head to look at something more important, or like propping up a baby's head that like can't support its own head weight yet. But he was awesome. The movie was sick. It was more action, more gore, Halle Berry, and more. That's how I would describe it. It was pretty awesome.
Is it bad that I haven't seen a single one of those movies?
Have you not seen any of them?
No.
I feel like that's unacceptable, because for me, they've done 3 movies and they've all been home runs, and you don't see that in a lot of franchises, and you definitely don't see that in a lot of action movies.
What I would say is, as well, from what I've heard just about the movies, like, you know what you're getting.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you walk into a John Wick movie.
Yeah. They're
like,
amazing.
You're not expecting some, like, deep cerebral plot, really.
No.
You just, like, you know you're going to have a good time.
Exactly. And speaking
maybe,
of good
you know
times,
what, maybe I'll watch all of them.
Okay, you kind of
sometime.
cut
But
off
yeah.
my segue there. I was gonna.
Good radio.
Can I redo it?
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of good times,
Nice. That was a good one.
Raptors got a win last night.
Yeah, so Toronto versus Milwaukee last night. We now see the series is sitting 2-1 in favor of Milwaukee. Game 4 goes tomorrow in Toronto as well. Hopefully the Raps are able to even the series.
Mm-hmm.
A thrilling double overtime win for the Raptors, 118 to 112.
Yeah.
Kawhi led the game in both scoring and minutes with 36 points and 52 minutes played.
Yeah.
I do want to quickly get into a bit of the foul trouble, because this is the first game I can remember in a very long time where we have seen 3 foul outs in a game, all of which were some of the most important players. So we had Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell, and Giannis all fouling out.
Yeah.
Kawhi was the player who probably played the best. Maybe Marc Gasol as well, who didn't foul out. But yeah, I just want to ask you, because as soon as Lowry went out, I thought we were done. I thought we were going to lose.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a 4-game series, and we were able to save it with some very timely threes. Well, 1 3, specifically from Danny Green at a very good time, as well as one in overtime from Marc Gasol. But when you saw Kyle go out, what were your thoughts? Because I was very worried.
Yeah, I was really worried, because getting in foul trouble for a team whose success against Milwaukee so far has pretty much solely relied on an excellent defense. We haven't really had an offense worth speaking about so far, other than Kawhi and then some outbursts from other players. But so to be lacking on the defensive end and then have basically the motor of your team offense. I say team offense because Kawhi's kind of his own motor, and then Kyle integrates Kawhi's pistons into the lubricated sockets of the other players. But yeah, that was scary for sure. And it kind of took the ninth three that Danny Green took in the game, the only make of those 9 to go in, and then some increased confidence from Marc Gasol to kind of get us over the hump. So I was terrified, but we held on.
Mm-hmm. Marc Gasol also having 5 personal fouls in that game was close as well to fouling
Mm-hmm.
out. He was huge in this game.
Yeah.
So I want to start with the Raptors because we had 2 surprising performances, and then we can get on to Giannis, who had a very surprising performance in a negative way. But let's start with Gasol. So Gasol, he did play 44 minutes, and he was 4 for 8 from 3, which is insane.
Yeah.
I think that made the difference there, spreading the floor for Kawhi. And Siakam a little bit. Siakam wasn't as successful in the paint. But yeah, as far as Gasol goes, what did you notice in this game that impressed you?
I don't think I'm breaking any news here, but I think it was aggressiveness. He has such a level he can get to that we haven't really shown. I think when you get acquired 3/4 of the way through the season, it's kind of hard to know where you should fit in. But this is a guy who's averaged 19 points in the last 2 playoff runs that he's been in on Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
And look, you can point to him and say that he was making a lot of threes, but he also missed some twos. Like this is a performance that he can replicate if his 3-point shooting goes down and then his wherever else he shoots from the field goes up. I think if we see an aggressive Marc Gasol, everybody's going to play around that because he's a player that knows how to get everybody else involved. If we see an overly aggressive Kawhi or an overly aggressive Lowry, those are people that I think I would worry about a little bit more, kind of breaking up the Raptors offense. But I think everybody has just begged Marc to be more aggressive and kind of get in there more. And I liked seeing that a lot.
Yeah, and I'm glad he was able to. I mean, when he came in, a lot of what we were talking about was his defensive IQ, and we've touched on that a couple times for sure already. And I thought that was there as well. He's for his age and his, I don't want to say slowness because it's definitely not like a huge, massive hole in his game. But he was able to stifle Giannis at the rim in a lot of chances, which forced him out. Giannis was actually 0-4. I don't know how many shots he had. I don't have it with me right now, but from beyond the 3 feet from the rim, Giannis did not hit a single shot, which really changed this game, I think.
Yeah.
So we could talk about Giannis quick.
Yeah.
Because he only had 12 points. He was 5 for 16, and as I said, 0 for 3 from 3-point range. But he somehow had 23 rebounds, which kind of snuck up on me when I saw that.
That's insane.
But as far as the offense goes, because for me, what I was seeing out of Giannis was a little bit of frustration. There were a lot of calls for him traveling from Nick Nurse, and he actually did get called on a pretty annoying travel call as far as he had gotten away with some much worse calls throughout the game, and the one he got called on was maybe a 3-step violation, but I think that was in response to Nick Nurse working the refs with Kyle as well.
A little makeup call.
My problem here, and I don't know if you agree, is that Giannis had 12 points. He was 5 for 16.
Yeah.
And this game still went to double overtime.
Yes.
Overall, both teams shot terribly, and I think both teams can improve. But if Giannis has even 20 points in this game, it's over and we lose.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do to shut down George Hill? That is my one question, because this man has been terrifying the Raptors now for seasons.
Yeah.
You can go all the way back. My first memory of this was that Indiana series in 2016. And he's been on pretty much every team to give the Raptors trouble since. So yeah, what do you think about the Raptor stopper, George Hill?
Okay, a lot to unpack there. Okay, so first of all, with Giannis, I think one of the main reasons I saw him being so frustrated because you saw Kawhi either picking him up or switching onto him a lot more than he usually does. And this is a guy who can get his hand in the pocket, can stay with you. He's big and he's strong. He can hold his ground, kind of unlike Siakam, which I think gave Giannis some frustration. But the problem is that the Bucks are such a homogenous team that even if Giannis is not scoring, he only took 16 shots. It's not like he went 5 for 25 or anything. He took 16 shots, and he's still leading the series in rebounds and assists. Like, this is a guy who's going to affect offensively, even if it's not his best night, and he's definitely going to be there on the defensive end, and is terrifying. As far as George Hill, this is a moment where I think we're all really missing OG Anunoby. I don't really have a solution for you. I think you just kind of have to hope that we get more of these nights, because all of the Milwaukee starters only had 5 made field goals. No one made more than that. And when a guy like George Hill steps up, then that can be the difference between the win or the lose. Fortunately, they lost. And if another starter had even made a couple more field goals, we wouldn't be talking like this. So,
yeah, I look to Eric Bledsoe specifically, who has just been terrible this entire playoffs. I don't know if he's undersized, but I just think there's better options on the floor. So he's a stopper, but you also have Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez who are able to do that job. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Brook Lopez is your like second option from 3. Yeah. So that takes away a lot of the use of Eric Bledsoe, especially when Nikola Mirotic is shooting better than him. Yeah. I would say throughout the series so far, even though he had an off night. But yeah, the other guy I want to touch on is Norman Powell, who had a bit of a breakout game. And I want to tie this into the Danny Green story that has been going throughout the media. So I think for both Norm and Danny, their struggle is a lot easier for us to see as a fan, and fans in general to see, because specifically Danny has one job on offense. It's to hit threes. And that is his archetype, and that's why we brought him to this team, and he was great. He shot 45% throughout the season, and he's been struggling here, as you said, 1 for 6 from 3. Yeah. Do you see Nick Nurse making a change to bring Norman Powell into the starting 5? In my opinion, I don't think he should do that. I think, even though I've said it 10 times already, Danny Green will bounce back. Yeah. But what do you think about that Norm starting 5 thing?
I think it's interesting. I think I have, same as you have to have faith in a guy like Danny Green. It's weird that he's going through such a slump right now. Even on defense too, he seems to be almost ineffective at times. But both these guys I've honestly no clue what to do with. I don't know if you give Jeremy Lin some minutes over Fred VanVleet and see what happens. But I mean, I don't know if this is a time to be making a lot of last minute adjustments. Like, this is a high stakes game, or do you just wait for Fred VanVleet to bounce back? Both of these guys, if you took away the 3 that they both made in last game, they were 0 for 18. Yeah. And
which sucks, yeah.
I have written down in my note 8 for 40 on the series. I think that's from 3. I don't think that's overall. I think that would be insane, but I think they're 8 for...
That sounds right.
Yeah, whatever. They're 8 for 40 and something. So... yeah, that fucking sucks. So I have also written down in my notes, pray for OG and more Powell. Did you know? Okay, I was looking up OG's. So he would be amazing right now, because in the last playoffs OG was in, which was his first playoffs, which was last year, 56% from the field, 45% from 3, and a really tenacious defender, and he was covering LeBron at that time. Also, his surgery took over 3 hours to get his appendix out. Yeah. And he had an infection during his surgery. What the fuck? Yeah.
It was just through talking to people at school about this, it was from what they had heard, because I hadn't heard this until I think it was Wednesday. It was as bad as an appendectomy could have gone.
Oh my God.
Like, without like serious like death. So the infection came after, but also when they went in to do because it's a pretty standard procedure, there was some sort of issue with actually getting it out. So that is what's holding him back. But I agree. I think OG is the obvious choice that everyone would love here.
Wait, do you mean like it's still in there? Like they just didn't take it out? They're like, fuck, we can't get it out.
Okay. Listen, I am in a journalism program in college, and that is not why that is basically enough of a reason to know that I know absolutely nothing about medicine in any way.
Okay.
So I think you take the appendix out, right?
Yeah, I don't think you leave
like you
it
take
in.
it all the way out. Okay. I don't know. But yeah, so when it went bad was the main point. But
how do you
getting back to OG? Okay, what?
Okay. They do this surgery probably like 3 times a week. And now they get someone who they know is high profile, who they know if they fuck this up, there's going to be consequences. So they're obviously bringing in their A team, and the Raptors are going to pay for the A team. And he's one of the most physically fit people you are ever going to perform surgery on. I'm sure it's like performing surgery on a grape. Like, it's just going to sit there and take it. And they fuck it up. What the hell?
It does suck. He has been in 5-on-5 practices, and he's on the bench. Like, he looks fine. And I don't think this will affect his career at all. It's just like another thing to add to the list of just a really terrible injury bug that has been going around with the Raptors this season. But yeah, I think OG is the obvious fit. If he was in the starting lineup, it would make a lot more sense. Like, he is the better version of Pat McCaw, and Pat McCaw has been doing well defensively in the minutes he has seen in the playoffs. And yeah, like, getting to Fred VanVleet, like, I just think this is the second series in a row where he's just looked so undersized the entire time.
Yeah.
I can't even count the amount of times that he's driven and just been like blocked, like a small child getting blocked by their uncle in a driveway.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work. And I understand that the 3 isn't falling, but you're not going to find any success at the rim when you're his size going up against a Giannis, or last series with an Embiid. So yeah, I think what I would do was I would take Norm into that role of Fred that Fred has right now. And I understand, like, you do need a floor general, and he has been effective on defense despite his size, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tricky thing, and I agree with you as far as trusting your starters. And I think if Danny Green gets pulled out of the starting 5, that's just going to make him less and less confident. And then when he does come in, it's going to be the same story. So yeah. I think it makes sense for Nick Nurse to stay with the starting 5. It worked. We did get a win, and now I expect basically nothing to change for the game tomorrow in Toronto. Do you have anyone else you want to talk about, or are you ready for my first question, my first trivia question?
No, I think I'm good. I just think that, yeah, more Powell, maybe experiment with McCaw or Jalen, but it's tough. We'll see. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Question number 1 of Basketball Reference trivia. I have 2. I'll save one for a little bit later.
Okay.
Actually, no. Let's do both of them. I'll do the easy one first.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll get it, but the second one's a lot harder.
Hell?
The Bucks.
It's easy, but I don't know if you'll get it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a
you don't
weird
have to be a
answer.
dick about it. Like, it's trivia.
The Bucks' highest plus-minus player on the night was +7. Who was it?
Giannis.
It was not Giannis.
Fuck. I kind of just went for it. I thought you were fooling me. Okay. Was it... Okay. Okay. George Hill.
It wasn't George
Fuck.
Hill. Those are 2 good guesses. George Hill was -2. Giannis was only +3. But Pat Connaughton playing 11 minutes was +7.
Fuck you. That's bullshit. That doesn't even...
That was one stat that really stood out to me. Brook Lopez, a surprising -16. Nikola Mirotic, a surprising -11, because I thought when Brook Lopez was on the floor, he did a pretty good job, but obviously it did not pan out. Pat Connaughton +7.
Okay, that's a bullshit stat, and you know it. Because it's just, he was on the floor and they scored some points, and then he got subbed off because he was playing bad.
I disagree 100%. I think when he was on, he actually played pretty well.
Okay. I have one thing on that. So I read this piece today by The Ringer, and it was talking about the death of the specialist and kind of talking about what's his name? He was on Grit and Grind. He was like the face of Grit and Grind. Defender.
Tony Allen.
Tony Allen. So you're saying it's kind of the
Right?
death of that because you need to be so versatile, kind of like how we were talking about Ben Simmons and Embiid last episode. So
Yeah.
this is the problem. This is why I think Brook Lopez can be like plus 21 game and then whatever minus whatever he was this game. It's because if he's out there to do one thing and he's not doing it, and the lineup is built around his specialty and supporting your strengths but also your weaknesses. If he's not getting that, then that's why he's going to be so minus. And I think that's one of also the reasons why we won is because a lot of the people that went out there weren't doing anything. Like I think they shot 27% from 3 last game.
Yeah. And like, I know in general, like plus minus is a pretty flawed stat. I don't usually use it, but I thought that was really funny that he led the team in 11 minutes.
Why'd you say that?
I'd have to go back and watch. I didn't say, I said it was easier. The other one's more funny.
Okay.
But it's like longer. It's like, it's not harder. It's just like longer form.
Okay, go.
I was doing a little bit of digging because I wanted to look at like the Raptors past game threes when they come at home.
Okay.
So I went to the 2016 Eastern Conference semifinals.
Oh shit.
Or no, sorry, the 2016 Eastern Conference finals, not the semifinals, against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yep.
They won that game as well. 99-84. And this is more of a question about how much the Raptors have changed recently.
Ooh.
Can you name the starting 5 for game 3 of the 2016 Eastern Conference Finals?
Okay. Probably not. Okay. Kyle Lowry.
Yes.
DeMar DeRozan.
Yes.
Pat.
No.
Patrick Patterson, no?
There was someone else in this series who was...
I know. I have more. Hold on. Okay.
I want to give you hints.
No, I'm still going. I'm still trying to name my 5. Okay.
I can do it.
I can do it. Fuck, what's his name? PJ Tucker?
No, he was in that series, but he came off the bench.
Oh my god, how could I forget?
Think
JV.
You're
Jonas.
No, so
Jonas.
there was a switch in this game. So that's I said think bigs. But
Serge.
The other one. No, he wasn't on the team yet. That's why I'm talking. He got a very large contract.
Very large contract.
For this series.
I'm blanking. Sorry, it's gonna be so obvious.
We made jokes about this guy the entire time we were watching the series. Like he was a meme in Toronto.
My daddy. Who is
Yes.
Who is it?
Yes.
Bismack.
Bismack Biyombo started at 7.
Okay, I'm missing the
because
3.
JV came off the bench for Tristan Thompson.
I'm missing the 3 and the 4.
So your 3 you should get. He started the entire series, and then the 4 is ridiculous and you won't get, I don't think.
Okay. The 3 started the whole series against the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016. 2017 or 2016?
2016.
2016.
He was in the playoffs this year.
Can you give me a hint?
He's a 3-and-D player, but he can't do either very well.
Jay Crowder.
He was hated in Toronto.
Jay Crowder.
No, he was hated in Toronto.
Other guy. DeMar Carroll.
Yeah,
Sorry,
DeMar Carroll.
I got the
Crazy.
dreadlocks stuck in
the
my head.
last one, starting at 4, Luis Scola, if you remember him. Who's actually playing in China right now. I had to look him up because I figured he retired or started coaching, but he's playing in the Chinese league.
He's Chinese?
Luis Scola is not Chinese, but he plays there.
Kidding.
He's like one of the stars of his team. I think he plays on the Beijing Ducks or something. All the teams have really weird names. So you had DeMar Biyombo, Scola, Lowry, and DeMar Carroll. Only Lowry's left.
It's fucking trash.
It's super weird. Yeah, I know. And we made it to a conference finals. So what I was thinking about that was it gave, like, we should be more hopeful this year because if you look at our starting five compared to that starting five, and we went to 6 games against the friggin' finalists,
Yeah.
well, the winners, the champions. So yeah, I think that gives us reason to be confident.
Okay.
But yeah, that was my second
Giannis
question.
and George Hill now, or Kyrie and LeBron then?
Are better?
Who's better?
Kyrie and LeBron,
I
100%.
don't know. I don't know, man.
That is a good question, though.
George Hill.
George Hill is very good at basketball, apparently. He also has the, like, perfect body type for, like, a 2019, like, shooty point guard. And, like, I don't know. I just think he's, like, perfect for the game if he can stay healthy right now. He's just so long. And that entire team is very long. But we don't have to get into that. So, yeah, those are my questions. Game 4 will go, as we said, tomorrow night.
Yep.
And hopefully the Raptors can get a win. We got some take it or break it.
Yeah, do we want to throw in a quick Portland Golden State minute before we get into that?
Sure, let's do that. So Portland looking to, I guess, save the gentleman's sweep.
Yeah.
On the night, they're down 3-0. In my opinion, I think it's going to end. Apparently, Damian Lillard is dealing with some sort of issue with his ribs. So I don't expect them to win. So yeah, I think it'll just be a clean sweep tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's over.
By like 20 points.
Not too much to talk about, really.
Yeah, and it really goes back to that weird thing we had last episode where I was surprised how low their chances of winning the finals were. And it looks like the computer was right, honestly.
No way.
So yeah.
You predicted a sweep, though, but then you also lamented.
I predicted a yes. It's possible to predict a sweep and then just think like the computer's being very rude, incredibly crass. So yeah, we'll see. I'm expecting a 20-point win, like an easy sweep, and Dame and CJ just have a bad game. Hopefully Myers Leonard gets in there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some Jake Layman. Who knows?
They should just get fucking weird. They should just do, like, Al Farouk for like 45 minutes out there.
Yeah.
And like do an all big
Anthony
lineup.
Simons.
Yeah, get Anthony in there.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The youngest player in the NBA right now, I think.
God bless him.
But yeah. Yeah, great kid.
Okay.
He actually had the youngest triple-double ever.
Whoa.
I think.
What?
Or did he? It might have been Markelle Fultz.
I think
it was the last game of the
certainly
season.
Markelle Fultz. I think I've heard that
it was
stat
the last
like
game of the
3
season.
times
It must
over the
have
past
been
3 years.
the youngest like Blazer ever to get one, which I guess
Mm.
makes sense because he's 18 and the Blazers just in general, like it's hard to have an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into some take it or break it. Today, Jack's going to be throwing them at me. And we're thinking from now on, we're just going to go back and forth on who throws the takes at each other.
Yeah.
So what do you have for
Mine are flaming hot. I am Mario after eating the fire flower, and I'm ready to burn villages like Daenerys. Here we go. Make sure your socks are untied and unzip your pants, because here they come. Okay. First,
I don't have socks on.
Okay.
Should I go get some?
No.
It'll take like a couple
I
minutes.
did a good build up there, and you're fucking it up. And here we go. First take.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
The Pelicans would be better off to trade Zion and Solomon Hill for Booker and Mikal Bridges. Let me explain.
Okay, I won't give an answer. Go.
Do you really want Zion clashing with Anthony Davis and Julius Randle and Jahlil Okafor, who have all shown that they get better every season, especially Anthony Davis, an MVP caliber player, and you can trade away a dead contract like Solomon Hill and not only bring a prolific scorer like Booker, who's also one of Anthony Davis's friends. Anthony Davis has said time and time again that he doesn't have a lot of good friends in the league, except for Kentucky guys. And do you think he'll leave a team with 2 Kentucky guys in Booker and in Jahlil Okafor? Jahlil Okafor, who was his teammate, And you get to bring on a guy with a lot of upside in the modern NBA, Mikal Bridges. Go. Take it or break it.
Okay. So, first of all, I get where you're coming from. My worry would be that I think you're putting a lot of stock in him staying. So you're saying that Zion would then go to Phoenix?
That's how trades work, yes.
So you're saying they draft him and then trade him, or just trade the first overall to Phoenix? I guess it doesn't matter. He is the first overall.
I think you would have to... I'm not sure. The trade machine said yes, but I don't think it was calculating in Booker's salary, but I think that the Pelicans do have a lot of cap space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they would. Like, there's no one getting paid on that team, really, other than Anthony Davis.
And Drew.
So, yeah. I'm not going to take it.
What?
But I do like the idea. I just think that there's something wrong with the Pelicans. Like, something dangerously wrong where they're just, like, hoarding Anthony Davis. So I don't know. Like, I just don't think they're going to trade it because, like, there's so much hype around it. So I'm gonna break that one. But I like the thought process.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think they'll do something. I think the big move is going to come from the Lakers or the Knicks.
Like trading for
and not for the
Davis?
first overall. Like I could see, yeah, like a trade for Davis for a top pick.
Okay, speaking of the Knicks, here's my next one. Knicks fans are little bitches, and they had a pretty, like a fairly evenly low chance of landing in the top 3 along with every like other team that was shit this year. And they get it and they complain because it's not Zion. A classic New York thing to do, complain. And then I just don't think they deserve it. So here's what should happen. I wrongly predicted that the Hawks would get the first pick, God's team. We don't have to get into all that again. And they should trade with the Hawks so the Hawks have the 7th and 10th pick. Do they have the 7th and 10th or the 8th and 10th? I think I have 8th.
The 10th and... They definitely have the 10th. It's the 7th or 8th.
Okay, either way.
I'm not sure right now.
Regardless. They should trade... The Knicks should trade down away from Ja Morant and RJ Barrett land and pick up 2 players who I think would be great in the Garden in Kobe White, who is an NC guard, who's electrifying,
great hair.
And Sekou Demboya, who is a Guyanese
French guy, right?
French player who is just a raw specimen and who can just, they can develop him in the Garden alongside Kobe White, get Kevin Knox in there. Let's get it popping. Let's go. Get Spike Lee on the side. We'll make a mini documentary out of it.
So I like it. I actually think that's a good idea because I think it's very low. Okay, actually, first of all, talking about the Knicks thing, because it pissed me off so much. They were touted as if they had an 80% chance to win the pick.
Yeah.
They had a 14% chance to get the first overall pick. It was not high. And everyone is like talking about, oh, the New York Knicks might win it. Like the broadcast of the draft lottery was actually terrible.
Yeah.
There were 2 other teams with the exact same odds as the New York Knicks, but apparently the Knicks were the only one that was important. So that really pissed me off. And then when they didn't win it, they still ended up in the top 3.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand why they're mad. This is what happens when you run a terrible franchise for so long.
Yeah.
Like look at both Toronto and Milwaukee. I'm not sure. Like Toronto definitely has 0 lottery picks, but if you look at the Milwaukee team, none of their players are really high draft picks either.
Yeah.
In their starting 5. Like George Hill he's the only player ever drafted out of his university. He went to it was like the University of Illinois at Purdue. It was like 5 letters and it was super weird. Jeez. So stuff like that. Like I think the way you build an NBA franchise this around this era is with trades, hopefully free agencies if you're a big market. But if not, you just have to use trades. Like the lottery isn't really, or I guess the draft itself isn't making successful teams. Like you can look at the Knicks, you can look at Phoenix specifically. Phoenix is the best example. The only one I would say that are doing really well are Atlanta and Dallas.
Yeah.
I think. And both of those teams haven't had spectacular picks, and they've worked around to get like the Trae Young, Luka Doncic, who were both very good, but still not first overall talents, even though they were clearly the better player than DeAndre Ayton, who I think is very talented. He's just in a terrible organization, which hurts him. But yeah, anyways,
I think
back to the question.
Just one more thing as well. When you're drafting, I think we've seen a lot of success in drafting a certain type of player and then also having very good player development. Like I think someone who was as hungry as Giannis was in the Jason Kidd forward. Like you could say whatever you want about Jason Kidd, but he put all his chips in the Giannis basket, and it worked out for the Bucks in the long run. And then Siakam in the Toronto system. Like you have two hardworking players who have always worked to get where they are, and you've just bet on their raw skills and their trajectory.
Yeah. And I think it helps being in a winning franchise. Like I know the Bucks weren't making it past the first round, but they were still in the playoffs. Like I think they made the playoffs in Giannis's second year.
Yeah.
So just having even that ability to go to the playoffs, I think really helps. Brooklyn's the other one that comes to mind of a team that absolutely has not drafted a good player and is making the playoffs and is probably now a top 6 team in the East. That's not saying much, but yeah, I don't know. As far as the question, I've been ranting so long that I actually forget it.
Trade 3 for 7 and 10 or 8 and 10 or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah, I like that. I think Kobe White is good. I haven't done a lot of research on Sekou, but I think Jackson Hayes is also a really good like rim running center who's going to play pretty well in the NBA. Similar to a Clint Capella, I would compare him to. And the Knicks desperately need like a modern center. He doesn't shoot threes, but like he's able to play at both ends. So I think Jackson Hayes would be a really good option there. Especially like if you are planning on bringing in a Kevin Durant, I think it makes sense to have 2 players rather than 1. Because I think the Zion, KD, Kyrie thing could work, but it's not going to happen. So yeah, I actually take that. I think that's a good idea, but at the same time, I don't think the Knicks will do it.
I agree. The Knicks have shown their incompetence. Okay, I have one last one to end on.
Yes. Okay.
The Gasol brothers would beat the Curry brothers in 2-on-2. They're the 2 brothers that are the 2 pairs of brothers that are in the playoffs. With the Gasols, not only can they post up,
we're assuming like Powell is at full strength. I'm assuming, right?
Full strength 2019 Powell.
Yeah.
I actually think in their primes, Powell and Mark would destroy the Curry brothers in their primes.
Yeah.
Okay, but right now, so it's more of a fair fight. You have Curry, who's like god level, but Seth is a little hoe, and the Gasol brothers, they have their post up, they have their threes, they can stroke them over the brothers, they can give them a little boom bap in the post, a little dipsy doodah into the net, butter, and they'll speak Spanish the whole time, but they'll understand the English that the Curry boys are saying, so they can plan duplicity, duo, dunks. There we go. What do you think?
So it's 2-on-2, like half court.
2-on-2, 1s and 2s, half courts, call your own fouls.
Winner's ball?
Yes.
Okay, then the Gasols win. Like as soon as they score, they can just run like a pick and roll and just like terrorize Seth and terrorize. Like, so if Steph gets a ball, he's just going to shoot a 3. I don't think they can get to the rim. Like you can literally just park one of them under the rim.
Yeah.
And like play like a top bottom zone.
Yeah.
But I do think like if Steph hit a bunch of shots, they would win. That's a problem. Like he's very good at basketball.
He's fine. But
he's fine. But Seth is not as good as at basketball, I would say, personally. That's just my opinion. I know people are really high on the Seth Curry train right now, so I don't want to offend
the bandwagon's, I think, full. I think they closed it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll check SeatGeek, see if there's any resellers. But yeah, I agree. I think Gasol is coming into his own in Toronto, and I'm happy he's here.
Me too.
All right. I think that's all we have for today. We will hopefully be back to recap game 4 sometime this week, time permitting. But yeah, thanks for listening and see you guys next episode.